Secrets of Jesus, and there is Jesus telling us a secret. But keep it to yourself, because the policeman's after him. I love this artwork. It's the angriest hushing face I've ever seen. Why does Jesus look so intimidating? It's like I caught him in the church touching kids. Oh, wait a minute. Here are some of the Steam achievements. Jesus gets assassinated. Jesus is ticklish, and piss. And here we are, the title screen. The Secrets of Jesus. The game starts off in Italy, where a lonely fisherman can't catch any fish, so then he starts whinging about having pizza again, and then starts complaining about his weight, and then, oh Jesus, Lord in heaven, please don't make me eat pizza again. I'm praying to the almighty Lord, please don't make me eat pizza again. But then the angels say, fine, shut up! And God himself hands him a message in a bottle that reads, don't get too excited, there's nothing actually useful in this message, but have you heard of a man named Jesus? Immediately, we forget the plight of the starving fish man and end up in Jesus' crib. And guess what? He won't stop bitching either. I don't like my house. I can't sleep. My neck hurts. I have OCD. Just get to the point already. Look, here's Mary doing something weird with her arm legs. Let's give her a pat. Good boy. Surprise! For God's sake, Jesus! Where's the Writer's Nobel Prize? Secrets of Jesus is boring. There is so much talking in this damn thing. I know point-and-click games tend to be a bit talky, but no joke, this is mostly dialogue. Absolutely insipid dialogue that doesn't mean anything, explain anything, contribute to the plot. It's like walking into someone else's text messages from the year 30 AD. Well, at the very least, Jesus does give us a bit of the look. He goes around the town being so high and mighty, it makes me sick. He finds an old man, demands his name, and then when he asks for Jesus' name in return, he replies, don't worry, simpleton, you can't pronounce it anyway. He disturbs the home of a naked woman, demands that she come outside because he's going to heal people. She says no thanks because I'm, naked. And he says back to her that if she comes out right now, he'll use his powers to enlarge some of her. Even candles are beneath this man. Who does he think he is? The son of God? I'm the light. Candles are useless compared to me. Well, okay then, Mr. Big Shot. If you're so bright and wonderful, you can be my hallway lamp. Oh no, what's this now? Jesus Christ himself refuses to carry on walking forward on this path because there are 2 rabbits in the way. What kind of messiah are you? Clicking around. I have no idea what I'm doing. Can't go this way, can't go that way, can't pick this up, can't pick that up. Ruin this person's day, ruin that person's day. Shall I jump? Yes.
Session and Skater XL.
Now don't worry, this won't take me too long to discuss, because Skater XL is a decent attempt at the skate formula while standing out with a unique left foot on the left stick and right foot on the right stick system, but it costs way too much money for a game that doesn't have any real meaty content to it. And Session is in early access, which is all I need to say about it, because hot damn does it feel like it's in early access. That, and I just can't get my head around these controls. You fall off of your board so much as a gust of wind breathes on you, and this tutorial here is arguably more difficult than standing up.
Oh my.
Like, you hold the right stick down or the left stick forward to bend down, then flick the left stick or the right stick to pop up the board the opposite direction, and you can't grind on a rail unless you push both of the sticks in opposite directions and hold them while you're landing on the rail. I can't. I appreciate the effort here, but my fingers can't bend backwards. The next game we're taking a look at is Samael, the Legacy of and it begins with some deep and insightful quotes. I will be present throughout spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
That's good to know. But when do you want your holidays?
Okay, so from first glance, yeah, it doesn't visually look as bad as what we've had so far, but I'm still not too sure. No, that's not your screen, that's the total lack of vertical sync that the developers didn't bother to fix, meaning the entire game is going to look like the top half is running away from the bottom half. But who, pray tell, developed this game? It was made by a thing called Gilson B. Pontes, and if you didn't know that now, you'll know it within the next 30 seconds. Character and mechanical design, Gilson B. Pontes. Art director, Gilson B. Pontes. Hair and makeup, Gilson B. Pontes. Sound director, Gilson B. Pontes. Stinky poo-poo wiping, Gilson B. Pontes. Produced and directed by Gilson B. Pontes. Man who made my sandwiches, Gilson B. Pontes.
And so, boys and girls, who made this game?
Gilson B. Pontes?
Austin, you're a genius. How did you figure that out?
Well, actually, that's because it's my YouTube name in reverse. Pontes B. Gilson.
And you'd think that after the intro cutscene, with the credits, that you wouldn't see the name Gilson B. Pontes again. But as soon as you start playing, you see it another 10 times. In fact, you see his name pop up so much that I managed to die during his own gameplay credits before they even finished. Now, I've heard of a game trying too hard to be like Dark Souls, and Samael does indeed do that, but took the dark part a little too literally. I can't see a single damn thing in this miserable greenery. Even with a flame sword, it's not lighting up anything around me. This is just a muddy, incomprehensible mound of old jam. Even worse, when you get to the meat and potatoes of the game, the combat, that's when everything comes full circle and it falls apart. The sword swinging is way too slow. There's a stupid slow-mo button mapped to the same button as the dodge button, and from what I experienced, one hit and you're dead. Which then means you respawn at the beginning, and then have to look at the Gilson B. Pontes exclusive credit sequence all over again. If you can believe it, this game didn't only come out last year. Yes, this is a 2019 PS4 title, but it also has a base price of, get ready for it, $29.99. I managed to snag it in the January sale, but Christ on a bike, $30 for this. Not even a little bit of stuff hanging out makes it worth it.
And you know what's even better? This game is the most recent entry of a trilogy. A trilogy.
Here we have Sword of Fortress, the Onion Museum, and take a guess who made it. Yeah. Gilson B. Pontes. We start off with an accurate date and location so we can thrust ourselves into this fantasy world properly. We're apparently in Megiddo, and the year is somewhere between 216 BC and 1815 AD, so the hardest part of this game is picking between the 2,000 years it could be set in. This game came out in 2018, so it's not quite as recent as the other one, but that's pretty impressive considering this is the best looking game from our old mate Gilson we've seen so far. It's not mind-blowing or anything, I mean, this branch is going for a nice float, but considering this game is older than Dark Souls 4, Dark of the Darkening Dark, I'm willing to muster a little bit of praise for it. Where the game fails entirely is with everything else though. You see this running speed? That's as fast as you're going, and our first objective marker took me 4 minutes in total to run towards. And that's 4 minutes of absolutely nothing else going on. Only running to reach the first boss. And then when you finally reach the boss and get shanked in one hit, because of course you do, you respawn right at the start of the 4-minute run. This then brings us over to the first game of the Gilson B. Pontes epic trilogy released in 2017, Spear of Destiny, the Gilson B. Pontes. And this time we actually have some voiceover to fill us in on the game's world.
This fantastic ancient world has been invaded by powerful enemies who rule in the dark. Several centuries have passed.
I didn't say it was good, I said it was there. So what do we do in this game? We have to look for all of the hidden relics that aren't hidden at all because they're pointed out for us, defeat the enemy guarding the relic, and then go off and find the next relic. Out of the entire collection of Pontes games so far, this one, while still not good at all, is easily the most playable. Your running speed is good, you have a health bar and stamina meter, and buttons actually do what they're supposed to do. But this means nothing when the game's frame rate runs as smooth as a rusty bike chain and the jumping animation looks like we take a quick hop and forget we're supposed to leave the floor afterwards. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it past enemy number 3, but I felt like I'd be able to find something really worth my while if I ignored all the objective markers and just had a look around the world. So that's what I did. And would you look at that, I found myself a river. Do you think we can go swimming in it? You know what? I think we found the Tommy Wiseau of video games. Pretentious titles, useless writing, bad acting, objectively terrible production, and with a million credits all going to the same person. Gilson B. Pontes is the Tommy Wiseau of the PS4. This set me back $11.89. $11.89. In fact, altogether, this collection of delightful Gilson B. Pontes games set me back $46.87. In a world where for the same amount of money we could buy a pre-owned copy of Spyro Reignited and the Insane Trilogy together for 6 genuinely incredible games, why are Sony okay with these being on the store? Crash Bandicoot Mega Drive, and I for one have a lot of faith in this one. I mean, after all, Crash and I go way back. We're so in sync. The cartridge of this is once again thoroughly disappointing. Everything is spelled correctly, it's an official render of Crash, it has balloons, and come on, who doesn't love balloons? Hey, where's Crash gone? Hello? Who have we got to thank for this game then? Ah, I see, KDS. Okay, we've got a sketchy title screen. Okay, we've got some words, I think that's what they are. What does Google Translate think it says? Dr. Cortex kidnaps the cream girl Theone in order for the cream to fill his Ilovi. Then the game starts up and... This is This is just Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel? No, I'm not trying to make a comparison joke, even though they are extremely funny. I mean, this is literally just Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel for the Sega Genesis. It's more of a ROM hack than anything, and even with that being said, it's a terrible one because the only hacked parts I could see were that you are a little bit sunburned, and instead of throwing ninja stars, you throw apples. Because we all know how Crash Bandicoot loves his apples.
Yes, they're apples. No, they're not what you think they are. They're apples.
I can't say anything interesting about this. It isn't Cash Banuka. It's a squirrel named after how many shits I give about him. And that game was Yume Nikki, another viral sensation that was actually made in 2004, but I didn't see it get much attention until the same time around Amnesia came out. It's a top-down RPG maker game about a girl who doesn't want to go outside and touch grass, so decides to stay in and play Fortnite. Oh man, wait, we actually get to play this? I didn't know that would happen. Go on then, let's have it off. Oh. In this game, you go to bed and end up in your own dream world where you have to collect random objects hidden behind every dream door and then equip them to use a toilet. This isn't a traditional gay in any sense. There's no real goal, rhyme, or reason to what's going on or why things happen the way they do. It's more of a trippy sightseeing tour that you need to find the entrances to. And I know that doesn't sound too interesting, but let me tell you, the sights that you see can get a little bit... You wouldn't think they would get as much mileage as they do with the pixel art graphics, but trust me, they do. Some of the things you encounter and the backgrounds you find are some of the most twisted, freakish things I've ever seen in a game. It can be slow and a little boring to explore the empty spaces, solve the mazes, and find these things, believe me, I know. But I would say it's worth sticking through to see what might happen next. Oh no, I'm in a cavity. How do I get out of this warm situation? Are you telling me I can walk through a cavity as a Flintstone? Are you telling me I can walk through a cavity as a severed head? Are you telling me I can walk through a cavity as a lamp? Yes, you can. It's your life, kid. Stay in bed, skip school, wear sandals, eat a crisp. Go nuts! This is where the horror, if you want to call it that, comes in with Yume Nikki. It's not about tension or danger or scary punishments for not being God. It's entirely down to its thick, dripping, sloppy atmosphere and how far you're willing to push yourself into uncomfortable territory to see something deformed and frightening. Like walking into a Walmart. And the music in particular does its part way too well, despite it not matching the mood of the game at all. It's surprisingly funky and jazzy, and yet somehow it works so well. Then you're suddenly running away from a chicken woman, then you're suddenly lost in Lamps Direct, then you're suddenly following my cousin Leg, then you're suddenly forcing these ugly bellends to cough up blood. Hey Marky, why did you and your girlfriend split up? You want my advice though? Get the bicycle as soon as humanly possible. I don't remember where I got it from, you figure it out. But it makes getting around some of the more empty and open areas much less of a chore. Plus, you don't need to listen to the lady's footsteps ruining the mood. Nah, using the bike makes it all 10 times better.
How did they record the sounds that come out of my parents' room?
Hey, look at this. I have a kniff. Wouldn't it be funny if I went up to one of these things and stabbed it? Wouldn't that be so effing effed up? Okay, I didn't expect that to happen. I was joking. I only thought you could— Oh my god, it's another human! Hello, dream friend. You have a lovely room here, and I just so happen to be taking everything that doesn't belong to me, so I hope you don't mind if I mooch around and— Ah. What are you? What is you? What is it? What? Oh Christ, I can't get out now. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I could stab him with the knife. That'll teach him. Oh. Yume Nikki is one of the most unique experiences I've ever had. Not an absolute favorite of mine. I personally can't be okay with the amount of times you have to wonk yourself left and right through laughably thin diagonal passages in a game with only 4 direction buttons. You know what? It's an unforgettable ride. It's very creative, the music rocks, it's somehow relaxing yet unnerving at the same time. It was made by one guy, it's nearly 20 years old, and it's free on Steam. What else do you want it to do? If you wanted it to do anything else, I'm sure it could warm up your Halloween ham.
So why don't we check out something that's more obviously about Jesus with his name in the title? Like, I don't know, 5 loaves and 2 fishes!
You all know the story. One day, a man went to the corner shop to get groceries for 5,000 people, but they only had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Luckily though, Jesus was there, and he turned that small shopping bag into a feast. Only one time though. Sorry, Ethiopia. You know what? With stories like this, people eating nothing but bread and fish, kids nowadays don't realize how lucky they have it. They've got all the food in the world and they still complain it isn't good enough. Here's another story for you. In order to play this game, I actually had to sign up to a Bible study forum and purchase a yearly subscription to access the download page. You're welcome, zealots. My username is Goddy has a great body. Now we need to pick a profile picture and there are some fantastic ones. Here are some of my favorites. Yippee! Sunday school! The famous religious figure R2-D2. My superpower is Jesus! Help. The one I ended up picking though is definitely the best. Friend of the worm.
It's so threatening. Who's the worm? Why is he my friend? Where's God? Who is the worm?
I'm starting to think I donated money to a cult. So now I have pleased the almighty worm. Please don't kill me, worm. I have to fill out the rest of my details. First name, Span. Last name, Ish. City, Spain. State, Churros. Yeah, I think we're done. And here we go. 5 loaves and 2 fishes, which should probably just be fish, and the word 5 is written while the number 2 should be written as a word like the number 5, but I'm not gonna be that guy, otherwise I'll be accused of blasphemy.
5 loaves, 2 fishes. Oh Lord, don't you know what my wish is just to be with you and serve you all my life. I was weak, but you gave me strength to see.
Oh, okay, it started again. Is that all we're getting? Is that the whole song? Let's start this thing up. Oh, hello, young man. Nice boat you have here. Oh, yeah, you've also got very nice hips. Yep. Oh, okay. Wait, what's going on? Why can't I look up? Why am I stuck staring at his lump? His eyes are up there.
Well, it looks like you're steering us in the right direction.
What are you talking about? I just got here. Wait, where did I come from? Where am I? Who is moving this boat? In fact, scratch that. Why isn't this boat moving? We're going slower than Mary Magdalene's libido. And bloody pissing hell, man, these controls are so broken. All it takes is the slightest feathery tap of the keyboard and you go apeshit flying off in every direction imaginable. The boatman tells us we need to head to the town nearby and convince my uncle to come with us to see me. So off we go. And no, we can't go any faster because going to see the Son of God is not that exciting. We then find my uncle busy working in a well with his lovely collection of JPEGs, and he's not happy about us going off to see the G's, so now it's time to argue with him.
I know it's a long boat ride here to Bethsaida, so why do you want to go now back to the shore and listen to this Jesus teacher all day?
And if you think for a second that these dialogue choices affect anything, you're a complete wrong man. Because in every conversation, only one of these choices is the correct one to get the game moving on. And if you pick the wrong response, guess what happens?
The Messiah? Here? Well, now I've heard everything. I know it's a long boat ride.
Oh, for the
here to
love of
Bethsaida.
my dad.
What?
You know what, though? He does bring up a very good point.
Do you expect me to drop everything to go listen to a preacher from Nazareth?
We all need bread.
We do need to, you know, survive, so work is important and I will stay to help you out. I mean, we'll get it done much faster if we work together and then we can find Jesus quicker.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound right.
So why are you telling me not to go then? Now, what the game wants me to do is tell him that the real life food and water we need to keep us alive isn't as important as Jesus' morning breath. And you know what? That convinces him.
Don't worry, kids, I'll get you some food. In the beginning.
At this point, Uncle Fester tells us to find some bread and fish in a nearby house for the trip. Only problem is, nothing here can be clicked on, or jumped on, or climbed on, or prayed on. We're stuck in perpetual misery that not even God could save us from. And I was stuck here for 15 minutes before deciding to give up and make my way over to some more buildings over there. I got there, and I can't even get in. Sorry, Jesus, I won't be there to hear your lecture. I guess I'll just have to go to hell. Thank you for playing our game and learning this important Bible story. We hope this story helps you believe Jesus is the Messiah sent by God to save the world. Well, actually, all I learned is that if you want to stop a man from finding Jesus, put a 2-foot wall in the way. Up next, we have a very serious game called Flowers Are Dead, which also had an official PlayStation Channel trailer. The trailer is just this. What? You think I'm joking? Because I'm not. It's 60 seconds of silent and still camera shots. Sony, when you uploaded this, were you drunk? Flowers are dead, violets are blue. Give me a gun, I'm ending it. Ah, great, more text. A very small percentage of individuals may experience epileptic seizures or blackouts when exposed to certain light patterns or flashing lights.
You know what? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the story.
If you thought that trailer was boring though, oh my golly gosh, get ready. Because unbelievably, the trailer is a perfect representation of what the game itself is actually actually like. You thought we were moving slow in the unknown city? Nah, mate, you don't know slow. You've never seen slow. Dear Lord, who thought any of this was a good idea? This is agonizing. This isn't a video game, it's a dying man simulator. And what goes on in the head of a dying man?
We're going to be meeting someone who's been your guardian angel.
Yes, my lumpies and germs. This is a walking simulator where you collect cassette tapes to fill in the gaps of a narrative. But whenever you collect another tape while another is still talking, you can layer them on top of each other infinitely. And this is even more disappointing for me because I love a walking sim when it's done right. But this?
I was Ariel, a member of the club.
This is the video game equivalent of you throwing a house party and everyone talking loudly in the kitchen. Sure, it looks okay for an indie game, but god no, there's nothing to it. This might as well be an audiobook. But it isn't, so I might as well make the most of this interactivity. Let's explore a little bit. Let's go inside this house. There must be something to see here. There's nothing here. Buy flowers are dead today for the low price of $19.99. It's cheaper than an electric chair and the torture lasts much longer. Okay, more accurately, there's one more Nintendo Crash bootleg that isn't actually on a Nintendo console, but is based off of NES code and dumped alongside dozens of other NES games on this thing here, the Family Karaoto, an entire knockoff console only sold in Brazil. It looks like a slim PS1, it has a gun, and it has teeth. My ideal spouse. And if you can find any of these things to buy online, then you're a better human than me, because I scoured for ages looking for somewhere to buy one safely, but all I could find were the company's Facebook page, a load of sketchy photos taken with an old pair of trousers, and a baby made of lard. This is starting to creep me out. Basically, wherever I looked, I could not get this console itself. Which is honestly a huge blow to my ego, because if I was able to find a fully boxed Japanese PS1 Winnie the Pooh microphone controller and a PS1 memory card floppy disk adapter, I have absolutely no excuse for this. Either way, on this special little device is a huge collection of illegal copies of 8-bit Nintendo games, including all the classics you'd expect, like Mario, Kirby, Mega Man, Alien 3, Nuts, Milk, Arabian, and Door, but even better, it also has a Crash Bandicoot game that is completely original and only available on this console. Unless you do a little bit of digging on foreign websites and find yourself a website. And find a website where someone from Portugal decided to take the console and rip all of the games that are on it individually and upload them for you to download. Yes, ladies and gents, this game we're going to emulate. And that makes me pretty cool. This game isn't hideous. It's playable. I'm speechless. But I'm gonna talk anyway. This is basically an 8-bit Crash game. What else is there to say? It looks like Crash, you've got the moves like Crash, there's Wumpa Fruit, boxes, the stages end and bring you to new stages. I was actually able to finish this game, if you can believe it. Sure, it only took me 4 minutes and 51 seconds, but I did it. Crash, I would do anything for you in those leather hot pants. Sadly, it is still a bootleg. It runs like a waste disposal unit. You can't spin while jumping, you change races when you die, and most of the time it isn't so much like you're playing a game and instead more like you're watching your nan fall over in the kitchen. But damn it, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me this was an 8-bit Crash Bandicoot fan project, not a weird Brazilian bootleg. Don't you just love it when choppy games like this struggle to load anything at the edges of the screen and it just shows you a load of garbled stomach acids and random colors? Running forward is always a surprise. You never know what's going to materialize from the edge next, like Crash's worst enemy, the salamander. Crash Bandicoot NES has not left me disgruntled. I'm gruntled. Might as well move on to the next thing. Imscarid. In this game, you walk around a world that's absolutely terrifying because it looks all old graphics. You look for keys to open doors and eventually notice that some very strange things are happening, and you aren't sure why that is or what's going on until you notice this broken meringue. Then you pick up a heart on the floor that somehow looks like that, and then suddenly... I think my heart just stopped. After that first major jump though, the game actually crashes back to your desktop, and only then does it start becoming something truly special. You see, every time you open the actual application and then get to a certain point in the game, it will eventually close itself, and then you'll find the entity within the game has actually added files to your computer and is communicating with you outside the game. Images, text files, That's it. And that would already be a little bit freaky, but then within the text files and images are even more information about the story of the game and even solutions to puzzles, which then after you load the game back up again, will then start in a totally different location, only if you've read all of this stuff beforehand, and then it will ask you to solve the puzzle regarding the text file that you just opened. By the way, that entity is called Whiteface, and I suppose after all these years, we had it coming. I don't think that I'm scared as a video game is anything that horrifying, but the way it talks to you outside of itself and essentially hijacks your PC with a virus that needs to be worked with in order to keep it going makes it one of the coolest damn games I think I've ever played. And the chasing around gameplay is just a bonus as you try and avoid this lad telling you why the best movie ever made is White Chicks. As an entire experience, if the creator wanted to make a game that actually felt haunted and that you personally shouldn't keep playing or else Benjamin will come after you, then it's as close to perfect as it needs to be. You aren't reading a ghost story about a game, you are the ghost story. You are living it as you play it. And I'm not easily spooked, but this game gave me the biggest scare of all the games in this video by having the game crash and actually have Google Chrome already open looking at a web page of Whiteface. After a few minutes of jump scares, crashing, closing and reopening, making files on your desktop, shitting in your shoes, opening web browsers and screaming at you, starting up by itself and Whiteface showing you his latest minstrel show, the ghost eventually makes you hang yourself, the game crashes, and it never starts up again. We did it, everyone. We killed PC gaming. In conclusion, I'm Scared is a game about a man with heavy shoes. Up next is The Gunstringer, another early Kinect title for the 360 and one that uses animations from Granny 3D.
But I really miss Grandfather 2D.
And not to jump the gun here, but this is the most creative use of the Kinect's technology I've seen so far in any Kinect game, not just because of its adorably creative live stage puppet show setting with real human hands controlling all the obstacles and props, but because of how it makes a rail shooter work on something like the Kinect. Basically, your left hand moves the Gunstringer left, right, and you pull it upwards to jump, just like you're holding the string bar of a real puppet, while your right hand acts as your gunning arm for whenever you find Mel B. But obviously, the Kinect can't exactly pick up teeny tiny individual finger motions, meaning that firing your gun while aiming has to be done in a more user-friendly way. So how they got around that here is by allowing you to lock onto a maximum of 6 targets at once for each shot, and then when you're ready, fling your shooting arm back like the recoil of a gun to activate all the bullets that you had locked on with. It isn't perfect, don't get me wrong, especially if your arms accidentally cross over each other while aiming your gun and moving left and right, but it works well enough where I could actually recommend you digging out a copy here. There's multiple types of shooting minigames that are thrown your way, a good sense of humor, a nice mix of platforming as well as shooting. In fact, it's more fun than dropping your kid from a window and making him cry.
By the way, I've got a question. Why does that look like an avocado?
In conclusion, the Gunstringer is a good time. And it's also very round. And this is something that really surprised me. The UK weren't okay with the original Carmageddon, we weren't okay with the original Punisher, we're still not okay with the original Manhunt 2, but Postal 2, shove that shit on the shelf! I am a bit worried about showing this game off on this video though, because the gameplay description alone is enough to make me nervous. 5 days in a week, multiple errands per day. Whoa, shit! Features: Epic's Unreal Warfare engine, liquid dynamics, sophisticated AI, absurd over-the-top violent content, and the most exciting gameplay addition of all, Gary Coleman. The game begins, and the very first thing we see is a strange man having a little dance with a cat, followed by a fart. And if that doesn't set the tone, I don't know what will.
I made a list of errands for you on the fridge.
Jesus, woman.
This is our lovable and relatable main character, everybody. He's very nice. And he also has a dog that has a bit of a problem. And just like the back of the box said, we have a day of the week and we have an errand. So it's time for us to go and collect our monthly paycheck from our job. So far, this is pretty mundane stuff. We're just going to the office right now. And on the way, we play a little bit of bastard fish and then follow mushroom-shaped police officers into Chinese restaurants called Cock Asian, where they sell the crappy cheeseburger. I'm really failing to see the controversy so far. Hey, you, why are you going into that condemned building?
Get the hell out of here, you lunatic! Ah!
Oh.
When we get to the office, we then come across some protesters telling us how disgusting video games are, and I've got to say, they do bring up some good points, such as bottom, and this is where you figure out that you actually have a job at the game developers that make the Postal games themselves, running with scissors. We pick up our check, and then there's a cutscene where the protesters decide they've had enough of going bah, 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 bah. So they suddenly grab a load of assault rifles and storm the building. But I'm not here to kill these innocent people with a right to protest, I'm here to shoot people who insult me.
How about some of this? What?
Okay, right then. I gave all of you a chance. I tried to let you leave peacefully, but you've left me no choice but to shoot my way out. Why do you look like you're sitting on a horse? Phew, this day is already getting a little too much for me. I mean, this lady was so overwhelmed by everything, she fainted and died on the spot. Oh Christ, now the butcher's after me. What did I ever do to you? Oh man, this is not good. Absolutely everyone and their mother is out to get me now, so it's time for me to run away, hide in a tunnel, and set these homeless people on fire. Well, that was a flop. Yeah, I really should have seen that coming, shouldn't I? Gotta say, though, I had no idea that my coat was part of my own skin. Why does it look like burned flesh?
Freak.
Here we are again, back to life like nothing happened. A fresh slate, a new start, and I'm here to help this community flourish with me and my dog. Are you shooting my dog? What else am I supposed to do here? I mean, I haven't tried every key on the keyboard yet, so what happens if I press...
Did I just unzip my flies?
That's the ticket.
Ow! Zip up your pants!
Oh, can it, lady? You can't tell me what to do. Here, take that! Yeah, rub it right in. It's good for your skin. How much urine does this guy have? It's just a never-ending torrent of piss. It won't stop. And the pressure behind it. Look at my aim. There's no splashes off to the side or anything. And why does it look like Sunny D? I love this game. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Gangley. You know what you could do with? A drink?
That's the ticket.
Well, would you look at that? Even though I've been doing my civic duty to provide free lemonade to the public during a hot day, I got arrested. I could always try and fight my way out with some matches and tripping the fire alarm, but nah, I'm too embarrassed. There's only one right way out for me. Okay, well, I'm not happy with the way any of that turned out, so I'm going to try all of this again. And you know what the funny thing about Postal 2 is? If you want to, you don't ever have to draw your weapon or fire it. Like the box says, you have a list of errands to run, you have a shitty little life in a shitty little house with shitty little curtains, and you are left to deal with the issues however you want to. Sure, you could massacre the entire town, set them on fire, and then piss all over them to put them out, but you can equally just find all of the neighborhood dogs and feed them treats, eat all of the dog treats yourself, or stand patiently in a corner shop queue and legally buy your goat's milk for the wife. Hang on, what's this? Employees only, infidels keep out. Well, why? What's in here that I shouldn't see? Now it's Tuesday, and I have a petition that nobody is willing to sign.
Would you please sign my
What
petition?
are you doing in here?
Well, fine. If none of you want to sign this form, I'll set the marching band on fire. That'll teach you. Oh, hey there, young man. Want to sign my petition?
By the way, if any of you out there are genuinely worried that I'll be damned to hell for all eternity for making this video, don't worry. I was christened, so I get a free pass.
Next up, we have this special little gem known as the New Testament, a game about Jesus made by a guy called M. Dickey, who is infamous around the internet for making the worst things. The game starts off with a character creator, and... I am not changing anything about him. Welcome to planet Earth, Sid Arthur. And here is what the cutscenes look like.
I wish Dad was here to see this.
I can't see it. It's a load of fake shit.
The game follows your journey to meet Jesus Christ and become besties with him, but first we need to get baptized, which ends up not happening because we're told we're a fool, and then, oh, look at that. Oh, look, the quality just got worse. Good. And then this woman appears claiming to be God, but we know that isn't possible because women can't do anything. By the way, those cutscenes, yeah, I'm not doing anything to them. They just run like that at 3 frames a second. If my 3090 can't run this beast, we are beyond saving. I guess we're dealing with a bit of a tricky dicky. So this fake God over here, she's so fake that as soon as she stops speaking, the entire village of bug-eyed freaks all rush at her to beat her to the ground. But I don't join in. I watch instead. Can I borrow some of your toilet roll? We run off somewhere else, and lo and behold, there he is, Mr. Christ himself. Yes, I know he looks like an alcoholic bricklayer, but trust me, it's definitely him. And at this point, all we have to do is follow him and watch stuff happen. Yeah, that's it. Map tells us where to go, we find him. Map tells us he's moved somewhere else, we find him. Map tells us he's moved somewhere else, we find him. This is as much fun as a dick veruca. And every time we find him, he gives us a new wisdom. A man cannot live by bread alone, only by the energy that makes it bread in the first place. What? sweet. If anything, I just wish that more interesting stuff happened here because nothing really does. Aside from the time that I got fed up and decided to beat Jesus, at which point he said, "Touch me again and I'll kill you." What's that, father of Christianity? Professor Peace? Mr. Goodwill toward men? You'll kill me, will you? Well, we'll see about that.
To be fair, I suppose I was meant to be touched by Jesus and not the other way around. But come on, man, do you really think you can just kill whoever you want?
Something that I do actually like a little bit are the loading screens in between each area. They give you spiritual quotes about the life of Jesus from famous religious figures, including Mahatma Gandhi, the Prophet Muhammad, Pharrell Williams, Jay-Z, Bruce Lee, Oprah Winfrey, Jimi Hendrix, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Tupac, Kanye West, Eminem, Osama Bin Laden, and... Osama Bin Laden! Osama Bin Laden!
Well, I suppose we did manage to find him and nobody's found Jesus yet, so... Oh no, his name popped up and he made everything go pink. Silly Bin Laden!
By the way, on the character creation screen, you can make some absolute freaks of nature, let me tell you. Like Peter, the 33-year-old, 1 foot tall, fat and angry old man. And then there's Elijah, the 11-foot tall, topless, bearded woman with a receding hairline. Now, I know there's a few of you out there that like getting stepped on, but is this too much? Or do you consider it a challenge? Do you need to conquer Mount Everest? Yeah, believe it or not, I couldn't find anyone online talking about these illegal rip-off games on smartphone stores, so allow me to pop the lesion. Let's start off with this gem, Crash Fox Skate Runner, developed by... Crash Bandicoot himself. You can enjoy this Crash Fox skating games and cube block games by simply controlling your players, that is, stand upon rolling cylinders in Sky Roller games. Do you need help? App Privacy, the developer... Crash Bandicoot! I can't wait any longer, let's play! Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Crash Fox Skate Runner is a game where you swipe left and right to steer the classic PS1 mascot Crash Fox while he walks on top of Pringles, you know, as he's known to do. If you don't collect enough yellow to get over the gaps, you fall and die, which happens extremely frequently because there simply isn't enough yellow to drive into. There's nothing else to say other than it's perfectly. And then you get rewarded with an ad for Train Station 2, sequel to the critically acclaimed best game ever, Train Station 1. We have cat lateral damage. Here's the trailer that PlayStation themselves shared on their channel.
Who are you fooling? You're no cat.
But I just want to cat.
Now you can cat.
These are the videos I used to make when I was 17. Look, I'm not going to pretend that my videos are any kind of professional high art, but I wouldn't expect Sony to be okay with them using this terrible quality smosh sketch as an official business trailer to sell a video game on their official marketplace. I mean, if you're going to use a bulge effect, at least move the center point to your mouth. Ooh, nice smoke cropping there. I bet that took you at least 6 weeks.
Do you hear something?
No, just keep playing.
So that was the trailer. I'm sure the game can't be any worse than that, and that is the fastest time I've ever been proven wrong in my life. Cat Lateral Damage is a first-person game where you control a cat and be a big smelly ass. You knock things off of shelves and swipe power-ups to knock things over easier, and that's it, yeah, that's it. The idea of being a cat that just breaks everything is a cute one. Fine, sure, whatevs, but once that concept's idea loses the charm, the game had better carry the rest of the concept along. But it doesn't. This is a really boring game. You just swipe things off of other things with wonky physics and ugly graphics. And make sure you're quick, because you only have 4 minutes and 60 seconds to do it! I heard through the grapevine that this was apparently supposed to be a joke game that wasn't that brilliantly made for the sake of the humor, but come on, blow me a new one. It's still on the store and costs you $9.99, and for an extremely one-track game with one joke, that is not cheap. Sure, it has VR functionality, which gives you a little more for your money, but just the idea of looking at these other cats in VR makes me throw up out of my nose, so I think I'll pass. You know what else is for preschoolers? Easter Bunny's big day. You know what the Easter Bunny's big day is? Easter. So if that's the mystery that this game has, I think I've solved it. One day, a rabbit was jumping around and thought to itself, you know what, I don't have enough eggs. And then all of a sudden, a robotic egg jumped out of the rabbit's basket and said, oh, by the way, all you need to do to get more eggs is watch me walk around a badly compressed JPEG and complete minigames. And don't worry, if you can't solve any of these jigsaw puzzles, we won't give you a single chance to get it wrong, because here's where all the pieces go. Oh, what's that? This is still too hard for you? Well then how about you press a button to let us solve the entire thing for you? What's the point of playing this game then? I certainly expected more than just solving a million jigsaw puzzles and maybe playing 2 games of catch the egg or match the rabbit in the egg. Yes, rabbits lay eggs apparently. There are other disturbing implications in this game too, like where is the Easter Bunny during all of the game? Is he inside the robot egg? Was he liquidized and became the yolk? If the Easter Bunny's big day is Easter, which is only one day of the year, then why is he so unprepared and has no Easter eggs? Where do my extra Easter eggs come from when I solve a jigsaw puzzle? And for the love of God, tell me, what the hell is a zero wrap? The content of this game doesn't just end at jigsaws and a few catching or matching games either. If you want, you can go back to the main menu and replay the jigsaws in any order that you want. Or you can look at the pictures of the jigsaw puzzles that you completed in the story mode, but slightly bigger. If you don't want to do any of that though, at the end of the story mode, which will take you about 16 minutes, you have to wind up the robot because it dies, and then your reward for finishing everything is to watch the robot walk very slowly all the way to the school to give the Easter Bunny's egg sack to the good little boys and girls of Pissington Hill.
Slender the Arrival. Well, in the last game, he didn't arrive at all, so I'm excited.
The story here is that after an area hiker failed to report back into park staff, Slender the Arrival is basically the original Slender again, from the same people actually, but now with a budget, which means better controls, better presentation, an actual story, different scenarios and things to avoid, and a proper beginning and ending with set pieces. And you can tell those higher production values from the very start. You can now sprint while holding your torch up. And for a small team of indie devs back in 2013, the game does look really good. I'm not sure about your man's stance while walking around with his camera glued onto his face for no reason, but it's okay, it's okay. It's automatically better just from, ooh, oh, no, there he is, the man himself. Slender the Leaving. This is nowhere near as slow as the original game, good God. But this is where I will actually praise the original over this version. Yes, it's stupid and cheap that I died twice because the game just decided I lost, but at the very least, there was tension in the fact that the game could just randomly be over. But here, that never happens, and Slend is even less threatening than he ever was before. He's a little more aggressive with his teleporting around, but all you do whenever you see him is walk the opposite direction every single time, and you will never get caught. Slenderman is now the meth addict that you avoid by crossing the street. He isn't even remotely unsettling. It's like you're riding a skateboard and he's a curb. You see him, you go around him. You see him, you go the other way. You see him, you go the other way. He's a long, gangly pothole, and I'm getting sick of looking at all these pages. What is it about them, and why do you get so livid when people take them? Are you a novelist? Did you lose the only draft copy of your latest book, I Have No Eyes, but Why Can't I Get a Service Dog? Luckily though, Slendy isn't the only thing to run away from like a little bitch. There's also the scariest thing of all, a child that can't do makeup. Don't get me wrong, it's still spooky though, because in this part you have to deal with the Asbo child and Slenderman at the same time. But even though that is true, he comes out so infrequently that he might as well deliver your presents. Don't you love it when you come in from the cold and your house is more rumbly than the wind? Then later on, you move on from a delinquent child and end up running away from Boney M. Oh look, Slendy's also there. Better turn around and go the other way because otherwise... Oh right, I'm dead now. Well, at least I know what I did wrong, and I will learn from my mistakes that I made. There's a bit here when you're in a storage tunnel under a farm and there's things in it, but none of them do anything to you. They just appear, so... yay. Look, I know it must seem like I'm skimming over a lot, but I promise you I'm not, because most of the time it's just an expanded version of what we had before. You collect pages here, then you turn on generators here, then you close windows here until you get vacuumed out of the bedroom. Just because it looks a lot better doesn't make it any more engaging for me. And again, Slendy Tubbies doesn't do anything scary or even appear that much to mean anything. Even the trees pop up more than he does. At least I can praise the game for teaching environmentally conscious practices like conserving power, even when our main character gets knocked unconscious and dragged to a totally different location by an extraterrestrial beast. He still remembered to stop recording and turn his camera off, ready to carry on the next morning. Oh Jesus, the forest is on fire! The forest is on fire. How do I get out? I can't see anything. Not now, Slend! I'm trying to get out of a burning forest. I don't have time to wonder how you dress yourself so well without being able to see the wardrobe. Oh, there he is. Can't go that way now, but don't worry. Just like every other encounter, you turn around, wait a second or two, and then go back where you were before. Slenderman is a scrawny barrier that always stands in the way of exactly where you need to go, and all you need to do is despawn him so you can finally cross. Oh, leave me alone, you inconvenient egg! In fact, and this is not a joke, the scariest part of the game for me was when I looked on this shed and saw that Oakside Park had 3 canoes available for rental. Nothing else like this happened at any other point in the game, and I have no idea what triggered it. I guess because they look so similar, Slenderman's wife cheated on him with a canoe. Then after that, the second scariest bit of the game was when I picked up this note, and I was convinced for a second the game was reading my mind. You know something? I'm curious. Do you think if Slenderman ate too many donuts, then you'd have to call him Portly Man? When a stroke from boredom strikes, the damage spreads like a fire in the brain. When you spot any one of these signs, think and act fast. Face. Is their face falling asleep? Arse. Are they scratching it? Sitting. Are they doing that? Time. If you think that you see any of these symptoms, it's time to close the game and play something else. Skateboard madness on the PS2. Truly, this is a game for only the most mentally deranged of skateboarders. I mean, look at the madness going on here. Who is this man, and why is he tickling underneath his skateboard? And if there are any astute viewers of mine that have been around for many years, I'm sure that there's a logo on the box here that you recognize. If you see this logo on any PS2 game, you run for the hills. You know how the Angry Video Game Nerd has his arch nemesis in LJN when it comes to atrocious game companies? Well, Phoenix Games are my personal LJN, and they have released some stonkers in the past, let me tell you. From Son of the Lion King to Dalmatians 3, all the way to Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys. They also made a game that didn't upset any minorities at all, and it was called Packing. And then they made Skateboard Madness, so let's check out what I'm getting myself into. My name is Let Me Out, and my character has no name. That's a bit ominous, so I guess I'll just have to make them up myself. Should I be Jonathan, 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 or Black Jonathan? I'm not even being insensitive when I say that. They all have exactly the same facial and body model. And you know what? I think I'll pick Jonathan. Let's kick things off nice and easily with a simple ollie. This bodes well. I just played a game with a jetpack mode, and even then, that game has more physics than this. What happens if you run into a rail? What happens if you jump on a rail? What happens if you jump up and try to do a 180 spin? What happens if you try to jump up a flight of stairs? What happens if you run dead straight into a wall? What happens if you go up a ramp? I mean, I suppose this does have its benefits sometimes, like when there's a big concrete bridge in your way. Don't worry, because Jonathan can go straight through it. The issue is, though, he can't do anything else. I have tried desperately to find more tricks than a heel flip and a kick flip, but I cannot for the life of me find any. On the other hand, though, I guess that doesn't even matter, because in a timed score counting match, landing kick flips doesn't even count towards giving you any points. Oh, well, sometimes it does. Oh, and sometimes the game will say that you did 3 kick flips one after the other when you weren't even doing anything. At least you weren't lying about this being mad. I will personally ship myself over to your house and give you a kiss if you can perform any tricks here and understand why they worked or how to do them again. Whenever I tap the grab button, I hold onto my board. Whenever I hold the grab button, I merely tap my board. Occasionally, when I take a jump off of a quarter pipe, I won't stop spinning around in midair even though I'm not touching any directional buttons. And the amount of times that I go up a ramp only to just smack down off my board for no reason is almost comical. Then you remember you paid money for this, and it's not funny anymore. I even tested the physics engine out by simply jumping off of a ramp, not touching anything, and coming back down. This isn't a joke. Look, come on, Jonathan. How useless could you possibly be? Don't make me get another Jonathan out. The only good thing I can point out with this game is the fact that whenever you bail, Jonathan doesn't ragdoll or anything. He just turns stone dead and gives up, wondering how he got into this mess. So instead, let's move on to something a lot nicer to look at. A game with 2 names in one, Yeti Sports, or a punchline to a joke from 1406. What did the man in the cellar say to the other man who came down his cellar and asked him if those bottles there were ports? Yee, 'tis ports. Now listen, I know it's really hard to ignore the horrible, awful British man in the middle, but don't worry, I figured out the intent behind everything on this cover. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Is this game a shitpost? I'm actually convinced it is, not just from the cover or the title, but the back as well. The first screenshot is of a minigame with 0 points and 0 time on the counter before it even began. The third screenshot is of a nightmare during the peak of a fever, and the second screenshot is of a HD man with a look of abject terror on his face as his middle finger got cut off while playing Yeti volleyball. Don't worry, man, you won't need a finger for every game. I'm sure you can play another one of the other 6 party games. Please sit back for a moment and observe my live reactions to the game first booting up and playing the menu music at me.
Ready?
Now, I feel as though we are seriously scraping with this one, if it wasn't clear enough already. Not only do you have more and more of the exact same bull as we've already seen before, with hitting things back coming towards you, playing baseball and moving around with your arms extended, R.I.P. Big J, but it also goes out of its way to not go out of its way, and the lag across the whole thing makes playing every minigame completely impossible. Just look at the state of baseball. In the first attempt, I didn't hit the penguin at all when I absolutely should have done, but look what happens even when I do manage to hit the penguin. Playing Yeti Sports is like calling someone down for dinner and then they don't appear for a minute and a half. You make a move and then just nothing happens until the game solves a quadratic equation before doing the move. I can't give you anything else, Yeti Sports. I know you need more, but I can't provide it. I'm stretched too thin. I have bills. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, the camera looks like phlegm on toast, but it doesn't. I focused it through the game's own focus menu. Yeti Sports just does this to the camera. The game itself makes the camera uglier. Was the idea to make me look as fuzzy as the body outline here, because it is working. I look like the missing link. Look at my teeth. Why are they that color? It looks like I'm eating a mango. What have you got to say for yourself, Yeti Sports?
Here is Pathway to Jesus on the iPhone.
5 incredible adventurers entrusted with an airship that can take them anywhere in the world, powered by a special Bible that also opens pathways to the past.
So yes, you heard that right. This is a video game where you pilot a time-traveling spaceship powered by a Bible that is searching for Jesus F. Christ. And on your mobile phone, no less. I always wanted to finish a phone call to my granddad's funeral director and then hop on my Bible spaceship game. Suddenly, the ship crashes because, oh, I don't know, and we wake up in this very strange place. We swipe around the screen to move, head for the exit, and...
It's too hard.
This is an extremely basic pushing puzzle game, and I mean extremely basic. This has solely been designed for the kiddywinks so they can easily get their daily dose of the man in the bathrobe. To be fair though, it isn't awful, it looks fine enough and it has decent production values, but what are we doing all of this for?
I know where and when we are. This is Bethlehem, on the night Jesus was born.
Wait, how did we time travel to the birth of Jesus? It didn't happen!
Our airship crashed and our team separated. It appears that God has used this moment to show us something incredible.
Yeah, you hear that, kids? If your spaceship crashes and you don't know if anybody is left alive, screw them, it doesn't matter. Because God made you crash so that you could see his snotty little son. And that's more important than finding your dying friends.
The Spirit of God descended on him like a dove, and a voice from heaven spoke on him, saying, "This is my son, whom I love."
And that's why I'm going to let him die on a big wooden stick. Okay, I take it back. This game isn't that good at all. It's actually a little bit...
I heard something. Hey, you're not supposed to be here.
Completely broken? Just check out this AI here.
I heard something. I heard something. Who's there? Who's there?
Do you just not like gingers? Is that what this is? Oh, and you'd think I wouldn't complain about the controls here when all you do is swipe the screen, but man, it is non-stop. You swipe for every single individual space you need to move. After a while, it kills your finger. It's just constant rubbing. I feel like Jesus is fluffer.
Jesus was only 12 when he was teaching in the temple.
Wow, kids really can do amazing things.
Yeah, kids, I know you don't want to tidy your room or wash a plate, but feel free to teach Christianity. You don't even need to do your homework, it's fine.
God can work any problem for good. I have the hope that he will do just that in this situation.
Sweet, he'll finish the game for me then. And I think he might actually have to because I can't go any further. I distract this guy with the only rock available, which means I have no more rocks to distract this guy, and I physically can't continue. Hey, what do I do? Where do I go? This is Crash Advance 4 on the Game Boy Advance, and from the offset, this is some disappointing cover art. From a distance, you'd actually think it was the real thing, and that sucks. Crash doesn't even have his nipple knees, and it gets even more disappointing when you start the game because it looks really normal too, aside from the slightly lawsuity music. There's something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? The policeman. Level 1, Dreamlike Water City. And... The environment is fine. The enemies are taken straight out of other Crash GBA games. Crash himself doesn't look like an orange toilet with suspenders on. What could there possibly be to talk about? Well, how about this? Where the hell am I going? Where am I landing? Where are the pits? Where are the enemies? I have no clue because everything is too zoomed in. Oh, and by the way, this isn't a special attack or anything. Crash just throws shit now, and it's bright blue because he's throwing his own tears since his own face up here makes him cry. You better stop crying though and keep yourself hydrated, Cash, because this place you're in has like 5 million suns. Whenever you think you've seen the last one, another one pops in. How is everything here not a liquid? All you do here is run, jump, play bowling, bounce on solid gold prolapses, and pray to God that wherever you jump doesn't immediately end with you falling into a pit and dying instantly. But it doesn't matter how much you pray, you will keep falling. Your God does not listen. There is a way around this though. Whenever you throw things, you freeze in midair. So whenever you want to make your jump a big old longy, you can keep it going basically forever and land wherever you want nice and safely. Want to see something weird? Even if you die and start the level over again, whenever you kill this specific enemy, the music completely changes. Oh. What's going on? Why has it gone quiet? Is this a creepypasta? Is this cashpanuka.exe? Is it because I got this game from that man who lived in the rubbish? Is there gonna be a jump scare? Where's Squidward? I couldn't get past level 1. I tried at least twice. I give up easily. Not to mention the game is quite obviously horrible, which is extra sneaky because the way the cartridge looks and the way the game itself looks gives you the impression that it might at least be a tiny bit decent. But no.
To the life of Black Tiger.
Okay, so immediately, I don't hate this menu. It's the nicest one we've seen so far, easily. Got some nice music, a nice logo, a nice background image. It's all nice. It looks okay in my books. I also really like all of these stylish still images whenever you get some story text in between missions. I mean, the grammar's a little wonky, but it's nothing I can't ignore.
And then the very second the first cutscene begins, it all goes downhill. I paid $9.99 for this.
Animal called as human is what I dislike the most. They smell bad. Yep, good enough of a reason for me to do some slaughtering, and just look at the quality we have on display to do that very same slaughtering. You think Bubsy 3D is primitive? No, man. This is 2017, and this is an era where if you don't hold down the attack button all the way, you only get the first quarter of the attack sound. I mean, let's be real, not a single effing splat was given towards this. If you can't even get the running animation correct without having a total fit, you aren't going to get anything else right. Is that the sound of the Arctic, or my granddad blowing air down the phone? I mean, you can say that we're hunting all you want, Mr. Game, but we aren't really doing that. We're just running towards an objective marker and holding the attack button until we win. Hey, where do you think you're going, young lady?
You can't escape me!
You know, I may have paid a good chunk of change for this game, but some things in life are priceless. And that was one of them. On to the next level. I'm alone now. I was alone and will be alone. But I'm not lonely. Oh, well, that's good. Whoa, Black Tiger, how did you do that? We were in the Arctic 5 minutes ago. Did you get the next available flight to the jungle? No, of course you didn't. You're a tiger. Tigers can't use check-in desks. You obviously just ran up the wall, escaped the land of snow, and then floated over to the land of grass instead. This is legendary, people. You know that Dust and Elysian Tale was made by one guy? Sorry, dude, but you do not hold a candle to Life of Black Tiger by one games. Pretty soon, I'm sure there'll be 2 games. Then what are you gonna do? Like every other game we've discussed today, you only do one thing in Life of Black Tiger: follow a marker and hunt animals, and every so often eat them. Sometimes you don't even need to hunt animals though, simply walking over to a smelly patch is enough to finish the mission. My favourite mission though was when I had to survive from a pack of wolves until the fixed time. After I tried fighting them head on to no avail, I then realised I could just outrun them, and after that happened, I just hid on top of a rock and never got touched until the timer ran out. Hello? Hello? Hello! Ultimately, I did give up on this mission though, because trying to fight the big bad boss of the wolves with my new female companion was essentially impossible when my partner just parked herself right there and watched me die. Why was the trailer for this shared on the PlayStation channel? Did Sony lose at Spin the Bottle? I want to know how any of this happened. Oh, and by the way, this is a game that is also completely free on the App Store. Go home, Sony. I'll call you a taxi. Just get out of my house. You've broken enough pottery.
5 Nights at Freddy's.
I haven't heard of this one. Yes, it has all led up to this, hasn't it? You all saw it coming. The single most viral game, not just of this video, but probably ever, which just so happened to be a horror game from 2014. It's the one with that meme in it. You know the one, that meme.
On 3, 1, 2...
FNAF came about from a guy who repurposed another game he made that was supposed to be for children but ended up being more suitable for adults, so then he flipped it on its head to make it a game that was supposed to be for adults but ended up being more suitable for children. One of the most unique and brilliant concepts ever. You are a security guard looking after a family fast food restaurant where the animatronic characters have gone wrong and they're out to rip off your breeds. Hello? You all know about it, so it's redundant me going into any more depth about it. But all I will say is this, without question, this is the scariest game in this video so far. Because this was the first thing I saw on the Steam page. Then it got even scarier when I started the game because while worrying about all of the animatronics tearing my head off, the screen itself was already tearing its own head off, so I had to quit and then force VSync on every FNAF game I downloaded. You are the security guard of a family fast food party restaurant, just like Chuck E. Cheese, but this one is called Freddy Fazbear's piece of shit. You're on the night shift from midnight to 6 AM for 5 nights straight, and luckily for you, during those exact hours, the animatronics have the zoomies, but with more teeth. And by the way, you can't move. All you can do to keep yourself safe is check the security cameras all around the restaurant to keep track of their positions, turn on side lights to see if Peter Rabbit is hanging out there, or shut the doors to stop them from coming in if he is. So why don't you just keep the doors closed forever? Because Freddy Fazbear is the chairman of Just Stop Oil and he doesn't want you wasting all your power. You need to balance and prioritize everything you do to manage your power consumption while keeping yourself alive. But if you don't use enough power to keep your eye on things, then your punishment is... Same applies if you use too much power as well, except the difference is that Frederick Bear flashes you. Here's the thing about this game though. I don't get it. Like, I don't dislike it, but this was it? Really? This is the game that took 2014 YouTube G words off to the moon in views? I will admit, I love the concept and the simplicity of the execution, along with the designs of the animatronics themselves. They aren't horrifying, but they are very uncanny. At least they aren't a bag of crisps in a tie. But actually sitting down and playing FNAF honestly makes me feel like I'm working, which I know is what you're doing, but all it boils down to is quickly switching through the cameras, putting them down, checking the lights, closing or opening the doors if you need to, and then repeating the cycle. Am I missing anything here? I got into a cashier's trance playing this game because it's just you repeating the same menial, asinine task in a specific order and doing it slightly quicker on the next night. Five Nights at Freddy's is like working at a cash register until your boss yells at you in a fursuit. The jumps did startle me, I won't lie, but like that's all it is. I get startled every time my granddad falls out the window, but you just carry on with your day. It was a surprise. It's not terror to your absolute core. I feel absolutely no tension playing this. It's too repetitious and daydreamy for me to fully get into it. And all of this is for a paycheck of 120 smacking lips. Is your poor man really that desperate for money? He doesn't need to go through this. I want to help him. Five Nights at Freddy's security. My guy. Why can't we move? Why do we come back for more after night one? Why can't we save power by turning this fan off? Why are there huge heavy metal doors in my room that stop all 4 members of E17 from getting in, but nothing similar built into their room to stop them from getting out? Why are the animatronics better security for the building than I am? Why don't we bring a torch with us? Why don't we have a candle? And the first one is known as 2003 Crash 2 Advance for the Game Boy Color. And when you look at the... This confounded thing was made by the company Syntax, which sounds like a groin cream. And looking at this cartridge, I think I'm gonna need some of it because, oh me, oh my, is this cover giving me the chafes. We appear to be in a European skiing resort, while a bit of Crash Bash hangs out in the background there, and, Crash with green warts over there, and an angry shoe, and Humpty Dumpty with a shotgun. English treasures, oh boy. Product is fit for Game Boy Color or a machine. The product is fit for a machine. What kind of machine? Serene life of people is in this fine cosmos. There is an unknown object in the mysterious space to surround the Earth high speed to exercise to come over. Then we cut to Uka Uka. Where is he? I do not Ow, to how I still take you nearby. You disappointed me too many times. And then all of a sudden, Cortex steps in. Forgives me, I wasted so many years to try to conquer those stupid people. Trust me, I have a plan for Resident of the Weak and Small P... Eeple on Earth. And then we cut to Cortex enacting his evil plan and his final declaration to the planet. I'm coming. And apparently he did too much because now the planet is covered in blood. Finally, mankind of my planet have already completed. The Earth mankind will admit for my superintelligence. Your god I am. I am your ruler. Ha! Finally I woned, and now no one can obstructed me. Oh dear, what a dire situation. Who can possibly fix it? Oh, I know. Cash Banuka and King Chicken. Crash, alter evil to be straight. Go to rescue will sort on a cosmos that super hardship in of living to work properly. Okay. Then we see some flapping paper, then we see a dead whale fly across the screen, and then whoa! There's the title screen. 2003 Crash 2 The Huge Adventure on the Game Boy Colon. Off to stage 1 we go then. This isn't Crash Bandicoot. It's my granddad in his sweatpants on his way to the tool shed. You can do everything Crash can do in this game. You can jump, and you can spin. You can't spin. And your mission is to travel through the jungle, kill all of the My Little Pony puppies, and collect Wumpa Fruit by breaking boxes. Or by breaking the same invisible box forever until you die. Check it out, you can even crouch in this game. This is great. Who needs a bucket and mop when you've got Crash's mouth? Oh wait, oh god, I can't stand up. Why can't I stand up? Why am I still crouching? There's an enemy coming for me. What am I supposed to do? Get out of the way, get out of the way! Is that a dead beaver? What is that? Tell me, Gammy Dewar. Okay, let's try this again. See, I'm doing much better this time. I even got a crystal. Look at that. Let's pick it up. This is fine. No, this is fine. I'm okay. It's only Crash Bandicoot with a sawn-off shotgun. Nothing to see. This is good, actually. He went from looking like my granddad running for the garage to my granddad going duck hunting with his shirt off. I mean, the gun itself is totally worthless since you can't shoot downwards and every enemy is too small to hit, like the
dreaded fiendish rabbit.
But this image alone makes it all worth it. Oh, cool, a platform. Is this the end of the level? No? Why aren't you moving? What do I do? Can I go back? No. Well, I can get behind the waterfall and go... But I can't jump back up to the start of the level and I can't reset the level. I'm completely stuck. Is this the end of the game? Did I win? Did it break? What would you do if I told you that Phoenix Games, the people who made this, and this, and this, made an iToy game? And with that new information, what would you then do if I told you that the name of that game is more unbelievable than the fact it even exists in the first place? Clumsy Shumsy for the iToy is probably as obscure as my collection could possibly get. A European-only, iToy-only PS2 motion game made by the same people who made Finkel's World. The screenshots on the back don't even have people in them. The only thing iToy does is show people on your screen, and yet Clumsy Shumsy on iToy has no screenshots of people on screen. Okay, so, we just literally booted up Clumsy Shumsy on PS2. And, they've given me warning text that is invisible because of my walls. I don't know, let's continue and hope for the best. Yes. Clumsy Shumsy... Clumsy Shumsy is a collection of 8 minigames, all of which begin without explaining anything you're supposed to do or why you should care. Player 1, get ready to do something. We're not going to tell you what. All the while, it expects you and your children, no less, to fit in this outline. Who's built like this? I need to get like what? And by the way, you get to look at this in every single loading screen. Who the hell is this runt? And why did they add extra graphic and shading detail to his roll pouch? Take, for instance, the quintessential game of this collection, section, Lost Shumsies, a game where no Shumsies are lost, you don't need to find them, you blow them all up instead, and then you realise this is a 2-player only game despite me already telling the game I'm 1 player on my own because look at this packet of crisps, nobody's gonna come over to see me.
Clumsy options, Shumsy credits.
And what are the mini-games, pray tell? Exactly what you'd expect.
Hey kids, have you ever wanted to play Simon Says with air on your PlayStation 2? Well, we've got the game for you. It's called Clumsy Shumsy, and it stars your aunt after she got hit by a big old grape.
I will give Clumsy Shumsy this, though. A few of the games work. So overall, Clumsy Shumsy is exactly the kind of game you'd expect from the same company that came up with the idea for a game called
Get ready to burn in hell. Yep, I'm way ahead of you, buddy. I would rather do that right now. What did you say? Are you saying Clumsy Shumsy shave your bum hair? What did you say?
Did you know that there is a fighting game on Steam where you get to play as Jesus Christ? This is Fight of Gods, and even though the game isn't explicitly about Jesus, who cares? You get to play as him beating the shit out of Moses. What more do you need? Just look at how he arrives into the arena.
I'm back for the people.
Jesus doesn't need to try and get out of his prison. He takes the prison with him and kills you with it. And don't worry, if fighting Moses is a little bit too racy for you, then you can always beat up Father Christmas. The only problem with Fight of Gods for me, though, is that I blow chunks. It's way too hard for me, and I can't tell if it's because the game isn't very good or I just can't play it right. Every special move I tried happened by complete accident, and even when I changed the difficulty down to very easy, I still got destroyed.
This game nails you harder than me.
Seriously though, this is far too hard for me. I just can't keep up with it. What do you think I am? A priest? So this is the title screen for Orc Slayer, everyone. New. Is it? Okay, to be fair, I can't judge the entire thing based on a still image menu, so let's boot it up. Centuries ago, there was a great war. Much of the land was burned by an enemy now long forgotten in the minds of the world's people. After peace Did the game just realize at the end of that sentence that the next word wouldn't fit on the same line and changed it at the last minute? God, if they can't get the intro text right, I can't wait to see the game. This whole video was a mistake, wasn't it? I mean, just look at this. I'm honestly too scared to carry on, but at least this was one of the cheaper games today, clocking in at only $3.99. I mean, what else would I have done with the money? Buy some compost? Oh Jesus, what is that? What is that? Oh my God, what is that? What was that? Ham? Now I extend that question over to the game itself. What is going on? All you do level after level is kill orcs. That's it. You kill a certain amount of orcs, the tower thing drops down, you open the door to the next level, that's all you do. How many do you need to get? No idea. But I can tell you it's a number. Oh yeah, if you headshot the orcs, they also drop upgrade points that you can invest into power-ups, but you don't need to worry about that. Because every enemy couldn't be less interested in stopping you, even if all of their friends are dying right in front of their orky faces. Other than that though, what do you want me to say? The trees look like towels, the crossbow gives off more steam than Thomas the Tankin Dankin, explosions look like popcorn, and the orcs look like if Darth Maul forgot to get a haircut.
Hello, I'm Caddicarus. And I'm here today to ask you all a simple question. Are video games art? I don't know.
In Orc Slayer, this is what fence chopping looks like. Next up is another viral hit from back in the day, SCP-087. If I'm not mistaken, the first ever video game based off of the fictional online wiki series, the SCP Foundation. And that's all very nice, but where the hell did I put this program on my desktop? Oh, yeah, there it is. I forgot that I keep it next to Funny Stinky Monkey Challenge game. SCP-087, according to the SCP Wiki, is a seemingly endless staircase in pitch blackness in a small building in the middle of nowhere that might have someone or something living in it, and nobody ever comes out once they go down it. Sign me up! A simple premise and an extremely simple execution. You are a poor, unfortunate test subject being sent down the potentially bottomless darkness of SCP-087, and all you can do at the threat of gunpoint behind you is keep walking down and report what's happening, or, if possible, find out where the bottom is. And look, I know, stairs are only scary if you see Prince Andrew walking up them, but don't let the simplistic nature fool you. There is evil in these stairs, and it will mess with you throughout the entire game, throwing hallucinations at you that might be glitches in the game or actual danger, distracting you with sounds of crying and footsteps that aren't your own, and forcing you to keep on trucking forward as the floor numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, alright, I think I'm gonna go back up. Oh, wait a second. Oh dear, I can't. I'm on a Segway. I suppose then I have no choice but to keep going down. But you can't stop me from having fun while doing it. Hang on, maybe I'm not on a Segway. This is a pogo stick. Why do I have the ability to jump this high when there's nothing to jump on? I don't know, gonna get on the railing? Yes! Yes! I can! Right, now I'm gonna slip myself down the center of the stairs and hit the bottom in seconds flat. Oh, wait. I had pie. So over the years, I've heard a few people complain about this game being boring, and I think I get why. It's extremely accurate to the source material, and it's injecting me directly with anxiety like nothing else. But after a while, nothing happens for so long that you start wondering what the point is. A game like this needs a delicate balance, because if you don't have that balance, then that can make the difference between a tan and a hate crime. Come on, I'm in the 50 floors now. I've gone down over 100 sets of stairs and still nothing is going on. You know, I love going downstairs backwards. The best thing about this game, though, before it even starts, in the settings menu, for some reason in the control screen, there are 3 fire buttons. Why? All you do is walk and look around. I would love to go mental with a Glock down here. I think that would solve all our problems. Then they made another SCP-087 game, but this time it was in a corridor. Let's be real though, corridors are even less scary than stairs. You aren't going to wake up in the middle of the night and see a corridor creep into your room. SCP-173 is a sculpture that is completely unable to move while another living thing keeps eye contact with it. But if you so much as look away for a millisecond or even blink, it uses those small frames of darkness to move closer and closer to you until it can grab your neck and give you a great massage. 8 out of 10. Service was great. But now I'm dead. This creature is the main antagonist and subject behind the exceedingly popular SCP Containment Breach from 2012, made by the same person behind the stairwell and the corridor, and it went beyond viral even for the time. The success of it went so far past what the creator expected that they were able to keep updating it for years after it first came out, adding more items to it, more monsters chasing you around, more obstacles to get around, and now we're at a point where the original first draft of the game that initially went viral is still out there to download. But I want to see more stuff, Daddy. So off I go into the latest available version, and good lording, Christing, godding bloody, they have added so many more things to it that to me, the game is nearly unrecognizable aside from the intro sequence, the main menu, and a couple of rooms that I remember all too well from the early viral YouTube days. The story here is that my name is Bint, and you're a poor old sod being forced to go and clean SCP-173's chamber from all of the body liquid and the bottom liquid, and while you're in the room with 2 other people taking it in turns to blink, the door gets stuck, the lights go out, and Okay, so that was my name's fault. I am now rum and coke. So now this thing is out, and it's not only after you, but after everybody else in the facility, including security detail that were keeping locked up other various SCP monsters with their own unique quirks and methods of hating you or killing you, or both often at the same time. And to make it all even worse, today was pizza day! Ooh, ugly. I bet you eat pineapple, don't you? Oh, and by the way, you also have a blink meter. Yes, you have to blink in this game, so you need to manage your blink timing with the spacebar, or just forget about it and let it happen naturally. Containment Breach is very similar to Amnesia, but with way more aggressive monsters, even more obtuse solutions to some of the puzzles, and a much more open world design, to the point of you not knowing if you're heading in the right direction to get out or not until you realize you don't have the equipment you need yet. And I know that sounds annoying, but you're so distracted by every other thing in the building coming after you that it honestly doesn't matter. You'll be close to figuring out what you need to do. Where do I even begin? Okay, right. So there's 173, of course, the main threat that follows you more or less everywhere throughout the game. Then there's 106, the old man that materializes slowly from the floor, walks through walls, and then kidnaps you to a pocket dimension where the only way out is to solve his labyrinth. Then there's 096, the total opposite of 173, where if you look at him for too long, he will lose his shit and then hunt you down in seconds. There's 049, who wants to kill you with his touch and then zombify you as bait for the other security guards. There's a chair in the break room that I jumped on top of and got stuck on, and I couldn't get away from it until I quit the game and reset it. There's 012, which plays a song so intoxicatingly alluring that you can barely keep from walking away from it. There's 966, who are near invisible skinny coat hangers that wait for their moment to silently take you down. There's 939, who are pack-based predators that mimic the sounds of other humans in the game to lure you towards them and then attack you. And my favorite, 714, a green ring that makes you tired. Why is this here? But all of those that I mentioned aren't even the half of it.
What makes it worse for me is that this game makes me panic like nothing else.
Containment Breach, especially for a free game, is top tier for first-person horror. Give it a look whenever you can, but I will be honest here, I am convinced that on more than one occasion, 173 cheated me. I snapped my neck so many times to this nubby bastard with an egg box for a face, and most of the time, I don't think I did anything wrong. Look at this. Look at this. Come on, man, leave me alone. Why did that count?
Fist of Jesus, a game that used to be on Steam and mobile phones back in 2015, before suddenly being removed forever, meaning you can't actually buy it anymore unless you already owned it before it was taken down. Or you pirate it.
What's really sad, though, is that even after all the effort I went through to download the game and emulate it, I really don't have much to say about it. Maybe it's because I pirated the Android version, it's the only one that I could find and get working, but this is one of the most basic beat-em-ups I've ever played. Buy something and get rid of the ads. Huh. Buy it. It's not particularly good or bad or even actually that funny. The story we have here is that there isn't one.
But that doesn't matter. I'm smart. I know mathematics.
Okay, well, Lazarus has come back from the dead and is turning everyone into zombies, and Jesus wants us to send him back to hell, otherwise he'll get told off. But other than that, the game is a beat-em-up. You beat 'em and you up 'em. It's incredibly straightforward shit. Each level is a little arena, you can pick up weapons, you have a few unlockable special moves, and you can either survive as long as you can, or kill a certain number of zombies, chickens, or dirty, stinking lepers.
I remember that bit in the Bible when Jesus said to the sick, "Do the world a favor and let me finish you off."
You don't even control Jesus for most of it, which is even more disappointing. Instead, you play as Judas. You know, the guy from the Beatles song, written by Paul McCartney and Jonathan Lanoon. I mean, if you like the idea of killing sheep with the stars of Bethlehem, or pulling the hearts out of non-believers, because that will make them join your religion, then by all means, illegally download the game and see for yourself, but it's just a bit too wishy-washy for me. There's not much going on here. And this Lazarus boss fight? Impossible. I swear to Jesus Christ, otherwise known as God Jr., that it isn't possible. Whenever you try to get behind him to attack during this phase of the fight where he's invincible from the front, he always gets multiple hits in or speeds off towards you before you can even get away safely. And you will die. Okay, yeah, I think this is more than enough PS4 for me today, thank you. Hang on, wait, this is an RPG? Good God, I mean, what do we name ourselves in a game like this? I know, Sucky Flop. That's who we are. And what does Sucky Flop look like? Time to go for a walk then, Sucky Flop, here we go. How does this game work? I don't know. Stop asking me. You walk into an enemy, stamina bars appear, you wait for yours to be full, and then you attack with whatever weapon you have one single time, and then wait for the whole stamina bar to recharge. Sony, the PlayStation Classic was one thing, but this is taking the mick a little bit. What do you even call a game that looks like this? Oh, I know. Skylight Free Range 2 Gachdween. You know when game developers tell you that they don't add women into their games because the animation and modeling takes too much time and money? Well, I didn't believe them until today, because it was clearly too difficult for this game. Lara Croft and your pyramid chest, move aside. These are breeds. Happy 23.99, everyone! Five Nights at Freddy's 2 Pig in the City came out 3 months after the original. That sounds promising, doesn't it? And when you play it, you can understand how. FNAF 2, in many ways, is just FNAF 1 again, but with 10 times more shit to worry about.
I don't like calling them FNAF. I'm gonna call them FANF.
You're still stuck in the middle of a building and you're still checking cameras, but now there's 3 times the threats coming after you at different times, 3 times the amount of rules each of them work with, 3 times the amount of things you need to interact with on your mouse, and 3 times the amount of times you'll end up dead because of it. On night 3, I got less than 45 seconds in and I lost. The dude on the phone hadn't even finished speaking to me and it was over. And that's if you don't keep on slipping up with your mouse. I can't count the amount of times I just wanted to come out of the security cameras and put on my Freddy mask immediately to fool whoever was in the room with me, but then buggering up the mouse movement to do that. You've got to go down to the bottom of the screen and then up again and then down to another bit. It's just silly. There's not enough actual button presses for the insane amount of new actions to perform here. Everything is done with the mouse, except the flashlight. So yeah, you'll be looking around your room to check there's no one nearby, and then sliding the mouse to the bottom right to open the cameras, and then sliding the mouse over to each camera to check them, then sliding over to the new music box that needs to be kept wound up or else you lose your face, then sliding the mouse back down to where it came from to put the cameras back down, then moving move the mouse back up over in an arc to slide down to the other side of the screen to stick the Freddy mask on, all of which needs to be performed within less than a second to keep alive, especially in the later nights, while you're coping with all the same stuff you have to go through in the original FANF, including managing power, but now just at the flashlight, which is vital to see who is hiding where, but also scare away some of the animatronics before they come up in front of you, because now you have no doors anymore. I don't know how anyone can actually be scared of playing this when there's too much multitasking going on. I'm too distracted to worry about foxybingo.com, and I've got to use the flashlight, but only in bursts because the battery doesn't last long at all. So that means most of your game time is spent looking at the other end of your parents' camera when they've forgotten to turn the flash off. I eventually did beat the game. I wanted to see if I got anything out of the experience that other people do, but I just don't. FANF 2 as a whole package just makes me feel like the ultimate problem for me in FANF 2 is that I don't either find it scary or fun. It's a chore for me from start to end. There's too much going on, too many places to mess up with limited controls, too many flashes, you end up making $20 less than the first game, and Chica is now thick. Oh well, at least we have some cutscenes this time. That's always nice.
So let's go back on Steam and see what we can find next. Like, Jesus Christ RPG. Okay.
We start off in a nice little house where we keep water, fish, and eggs in treasure chests, and then waddle our way over to Mother Mary to let her know we're leaving to get our first Pokemon. Both I and your father, I mean, Joseph, will miss you. Ooh. Sneef. Sneef. We walk around the town, talk to people, and find out that we can't help the organ player get wrecked because I can't perform miracles yet without traveling to the desert to get baptized. Because even if you are the Son of God, you're still useless until you get wet. We go to the oasis to get baptized and come out looking like a stupid baby.
Hello, I'm Jesus Christ. I just shat my pants.
As it turns out, I learned exorcism, and all it took was me getting a little bit damp. Suddenly, Satan of all people appears, and he is looking fire. If this guy is supposed to be the root of all evil, why do I want to get a beer with him? He tries tempting us to jump off of a cliff to prove that we are as great as we say we are, and we reply, "You are not to put the Lord your God to the test." Pussy! And because of that cop-out, Satan sends Beelzebub after us with all of his minions. In brown trousers. Time for a battle then, yeah! Demonic fly uses smelly finger.
You know what? I don't want to fight anymore. Which is good, because in the game, I can always choose to refrain. I mean, after all, that is what Dad would want.
Well, I died, and we get the greatest message I've ever read. Jesus Christ was defeated. Sorry, Christians.
Right then, I guess we can't fix every problem with peace, so it's time for Jesus to cut.
Kill the demon, go to hell. Kill the demon, go to hell. Kill the Lord of the Flies, go to hell. And then I stole his wallet! And the Bible lesson we learnt today, kids, is that violence solves everything. Jesus Christ RPG is an RPG where you walk around an overworld, explore buildings, talk to people for advice and items, buy weapons and armor, find party members in the form of disciples, level up with experience points to learn new miracles, and attack everyone that disagrees with you in turn-based battles.
Ha ha ha. How tabled the turn.
Sadly though, you can't walk on water. You're not my Jesus. You can't progress throughout the game without obtaining certain miracles, which you can use in combat as well as the overworld. But in order to get those miracles, you have to do a lot of fights to get a lot of XP. I don't remember that bit in the Bible where Jesus had to grind. The thing is though, this game may be on Steam, but it's totally free to download, and it's a totally functional RPG. I've got no complaints about it, really. And to make things even better, this game is actually a trilogy. Yeah, 3 RPGs in one. Rise Jesus Christ RPG is more of the exact same, so I won't say anything about it. But what about Baby Jesus Christ RPG? What could this one be like? We get some intro text talking about the angel Gabriel coming down to see Mary for a bit of the old in, out, and she's not very happy about it.
Greetings, favored one. The Lord is with you. I also didn't get much sleep last night.
So Gabriel tells Mary that she'll be pregnant with the Son of God despite her being a virgin, and her face sums it all up. And then, as if by magic, with the tiniest tap of the spacebar, she's knocked up in a single frame. Sorry, can we see that again? Disappointingly, not much else happens after that, and it becomes more of the exact same again. Except now you control a fat, blooming Mary as she violently shakes her pregnant stomach around. The main problem with this, though, is that I went out of the town to try and explore, when all of a sudden I was jumped by a desert thief. And Mary was surprised. So surprised, she died in one hit. Game over. And here's baby Jesus about to be stabbed. Sitting in a big poo. Fine then, I'll stock up on some weapons before I leave. Hello there, poor starving child. I don't have any food, but did you know the only food you need is the word of Jesus Christ? I'll buy something off of you. Battle saw? Perfect. Oh look, it's Joseph. Come on then, cuck. Time to go to Bethlehem and give birth to our bastard child. Oh no, a tourist appeared and called us... hillbillies from Nazareth. I guess now we have no choice but to kill him with our battle saw. And luckily, Joseph joined our party pre-equipped with a giant battle hammer. After caving the tourist's face in, we look around all of the inns to stay for the night, and sadly, there's nowhere to go. I can see where this is going. Time for us to have a perfectly normal and natural birth in a cow pat. We find the right stable we need, walk in the door, and then immediately there's Jesus. Boy, that was quick.
Sex Vixens from Space. A game that the UK government hated so much that when we heard about a shipment coming over in 1989, British Customs actually grabbed a hold of every copy that they could and physically destroyed them, never allowing them to be sold by any UK retailer ever again. Yes, I'm not joking. Look it up. I got this from Canada.
Yes, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm the only person in this country that owns an actual physical copy of Sex Vixens from Space. And guess what the game came on? Floppies. But I don't happen to own a working Amiga, so it's time to jump onto an emulator. Right, here we are at the boot up screen. Oh, and there's the copyright protection instructions, so all I've got to do is type in the... Yeah, it turns out that every time you boot this ROM up, the message that tells you what word to type in from the manual that comes with the game in order to prove that you own the game stays on the screen for less than 2 seconds. So shit, what am I supposed to do now? Hello?
Object not found.
Where's the naked?
Object not found.
So eventually I ended up just typing in every single word from the instruction manual into this thing, just praying to God that it would eventually boot up. And lo and behold, I got it working. Stop! Ori, you are Captain Brad Stallion, owner and operator of the one-man space vehicle known throughout the galaxy as Big Thruster. For years, there have been rumors about this tribe, a colony of beautiful, sex-starved women hidden somewhere in space. According to many legends, they suddenly appear, raid the male-dominated rural planetary systems with their sex ray gun, leaving them— No! Stop there! The story is perfect. I don't need to read anymore. So here we go, the game has begun. You are in deep space aboard Big Thruster. I wonder why they call it that! And then you're thrown into a point-and-click interface where you can click on objects, look into your inventory, move north, east, south, and west, and type exact and specific commands onto the screen to interact with some other objects that you think you should just be able to click on, but the game doesn't like to explain that one, so good luck and have a nice thrust. What you've got to do next is absolutely beyond my comprehension, though. The game just leaves you to figure out everything on your own, and with no music, no sound effects, no hints, and no nothing, you need to know what direction to walk, what to type and where, what to click on, and what to use from your inventory on what item. That sometimes means you got to type how you want to use the thing instead of just clicking it. I didn't spend too much time on this one. The best I was able to do was make the spaceship move, and I couldn't even land it. I'm looking it up online. What was so bad about this game that the UK customs team just had to destroy all of them?